control it, but we do contribute to it, if that makes sense.
Well,
We
in
do
what
not
way, Shan?
control it. So,
Go
so,
ahead.
so, so, like we were mentioning earlier, right?
Mhm.
If you mentioned airways and you mentioned radio. There's certain radio stations I don't even listen to anymore. I used to, but they have become trash. I don't even turn it on there. And guess what? These radio stations get pumped by how many people listen to them, the ads that come through, right? So and they're alternative stations, you know, I don't listen to an R&B channel all day long, right? But somewhere along the line, we are listening.
Okay, that contribution. Yes.
This because we have choices. The great thing about America is you got choices. You got choices of what you watch. You got choices of what you listen to. You have the choices. When my thing is, yes, we do not control the narrative. You are absolutely right, but you have control over what radio station you listen to, what music you listen to, all of the which you consume. You have full control over, and that's what we have to start. We know the problem is bigger than us, but it can start with us.
I think that our biggest problem,
and then let AP go after you, so because he has to get in. Go ahead.
I think our biggest problem is that we have relinquished all of our power to someone else. That is our biggest detriment. We are so lost and confused that we have given away our own power to someone else when we are in control of it. You know what I'm saying? If we literally set the trends worldwide, how is it that we can't control our own image? That's mind-boggling for me. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we have stereotypes, absolutely, but there's always going to be stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? There's not much that you can do to get away from that just because of polarity. There's always going to be poor, rich, good, bad, whatever the case may be. There's always going to be two different sides of it. But to say that we don't have the power to control our own image is crazy, bro. I couldn't picture me saying that somebody else has more power over my own image and me making the decision to carry myself in a certain type of way and to hold my community to a standard. You know what I'm saying?
I think you conflated something right there. No one said you don't have the authority or self-determination to control how you navigate throughout this world. In fact, I tried to disassociate the 2 points for you so you can understand where we were coming from, and I understand we weren't making a disingenuous argument. We're literally saying that as an individual, yes, you control those things. As a household, you can control those things. As you navigate through this world, you can be seen in however you want to be seen, right? And whatever, positive or negative. The thing is, narrative and programming is not a collective of us doing X, Y, and Z. Narrative and programming is a selection of something and placed in another place. So it has a pyramid effect that its reach trickles down. And unless you control distribution, unless you control means of production, then you don't have control over that thing. That is what we're speaking to. And I get the frustration because I'm one of them people who divorce is high. Everybody gonna get divorced. No, you're not. You don't have to get divorced. When they speaking about it, they're usually speaking to the system at play, and the system exists, right? I think you can navigate through it. So I agree with you on that, but I'm just saying it does exist. You understand now?
I'm not saying that. I'm not taking away that there is some type of system and structure that is placed, you know what I'm saying, in order to keep people in line, in check, whatever the case may be. I'm not taking away from that narrative at all. That's a common fact all throughout society. That has always been a thing. But to say that we don't have the power to control our own image, you know what I'm saying? I can't agree with that, because that's, in my opinion, that's simply not the truth.
Oh, go ahead, AP. I'm sorry.
First, and I'm not trying to pile on you, Vic, but from an individual, pause. Pause, by the way. From an individual standpoint, I 100% agree with you, and I think everybody else actually agrees with you from an individual standpoint. What you're suggesting, though, takes a collective effort in order to pull it off. And I agree. We should work as a collective in order to pull it off. But when I look at it, I'm like, what have we done collectively since somewhere right around the mid '80s, where we controlled something? And I also disagree with you on our biggest issues. Our biggest issues is actually fear and money.
We got the money.
Do we though?
We absolutely got the money, bro.
I'm gonna ask you this: what do we own? What do we own as a collective where we have some place to go to throw all of our art?
Before you answer that, Viz, I'm gonna explain. I used to work for this company called Pangea Real Estate. I'm pretty sure you heard of them, right? You see the buildings all throughout Chicago.
Yeah.
So what they initially did was they took a payday lending store, because a lot of us live check to check and have a bad habit of overspending, right? And overextending ourselves.
And they put them all in the hood.
Yeah, they put them all in the hood. So what they did was took those payday lending stores, and from there they used their connections with banks, judges, and land trusts and all these different things to buy block abandoned buildings. Then they fixed those buildings up, and then they had a rent to earning ratio. So most of the people who stay in those buildings, they if they own if they make $2,000 a month, then their rent can be 60% of that. So it may say we collectively bring in 70 million. Well, I'm just gonna give an average salary. So it may say somebody bring in $65,000 a year, right? And you'll say after living expenses, you're left with discretionary spending, but that's not actually what's happening, because we don't own the homes that we live in. That's not going into a fund that we can withdraw from. It's going into the pockets of the people who own the building. It'll appear as though we have discretion or extra capital to spend, but if we're not owning the place we live, and a lot of us are living check to check, those numbers start to change, because really what they're doing is just extorting wealth from the communities by doing that. Then you throw in interest rates. If you're living check to check and you get behind the interest ball, now that $100 can balloon up to $700. So it will appear that you're earning this. And now this is the part that we mess up on. Instead of just living below our means, we have this need to display wealth that we don't have. And by trying to do that, it forces us further. It's not forcing us. We're choosing to participate in this materialism culture that's making us think it's a good idea, or that we're choosing to think is a good idea to buy things that we cannot afford in order to appear to keep up with the Joneses, forcing us further and further. So when we talk about discretionary spending, hair, nails, clothing, cars, and rims, if you have any money, is where it tends to go due to the collective self-esteem of the people. So we have the money, but we don't have control fully of the money due to our collective psychology and what living expenses and taxes do to it.